we met that very first time. And still you blow my mind, the girl that cheered me up. You know that I still can't get enough. There's no fuss and fight, you make my life so easy. I can't believe you're mine, I know you'll never leave my side, no. Cause even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine, but you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Got no need to show it all, cause you're so real. People whisper and they stare, and you still blow my mind, girl, to cheer me up. Yeah, but what's the deal? Girl, I still can't get enough, no. There's no fuss and fight, you make my life so easy. I can't believe you're mine, I know you'll never leave my side, no. Cause even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine, but you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And tonight we will celebrate our love and our life. We'll be together, you and I. We will watch the sunrise far across the ocean. Oh, even when you're getting dressed, half asleep, your hair's a mess. Oh yeah, without makeup, still the best. Girl, you're different from the rest. People say that you're divine, something that they call divine, but you wouldn't even care at all. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Oh, that's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. Oh, that's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. That's why you're beautiful. I couldn't make you grab the rope, despite my invitations. Every smile, a spell of hope. I've been waiting for so long. I have feelings for you, you say. It better be true. Tell me again how this works. I'm in love, but it hurts. crushed by the weight of your words. A part of me wants to run for cover. I was safe where I used to be. This is not where we used to be. Tell me again what you feel. I can't believe this is real. Hearts can be broken, but this is absurd. I'm getting crushed by the weight of your words. Tell me again how this works. I'm in love, but it hurts. Hearts can be broken, but this is absurd. I'm getting crushed by the weight of your words. Tell me again what you feel. I can't believe this is real. Hearts can be broken, but this is absurd. I'm getting crushed by the weight of your words. The wind is playing with your hair. I'm watching it painting circles in the air. You're smiling at me like only you could do. Like a perfect dream, and that dream is you. The sun is lighting up your face. We stayed up all night and listened to the rain. Like music kept on playing like a drum. With you in my arms, I'm the lucky one. And I wanna spend the day making love 1,000 ways and more to show. Baby, every time we're kissing, I know it is forbidden, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Your body's on my body, I know you really got me, 'cause I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Even if I'm trying, I could never pull away. And when we are, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When people telling her to leave, that she won't have a future here with me. No, I've done my best, I've tried to prove them wrong. They ain't listening, but I know that she's the one. And I wanna spend the day, make love 1,000 ways and more to show. Baby, every time we're kissing, I know it is forbidden, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Your body's on my body, I know you really got me, 'cause I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Even if I'm trying, I could never pull away. And when we are, but I can't stop. No, I can't stop. When we are, girl, I can't stop. No, I can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop now. Can't stop. Can't stop now. The sun's lighting up your face. We stayed up all night and listened to the rain. Like music, it kept on playing like a drum. I'm the lucky one.
silent music in shimmering gold, the strangest feeling about to explode. I held my breath to make sure I didn't say something weird. Say something weird. Light as a feather on weekend knees. What on earth did you do to me? I let you in before I even knew who you were. Your hair was just so golden, 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 and your eyes were also golden, 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 golden. All my dreams are now golden, 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 golden. I wonder where did you go? I have to know. Golden. A mirror image of my soul. I could see myself, but without the holes. I pinched my arm just to see if you could feel what I feel. We found each other right from the start. A conversation between our hearts. I wanted more, but it was hard to get through your shield. Your hair was just so golden, 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 and your eyes were also golden, 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 golden. All my dreams are now golden, 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 golden. I wonder where did you go? I have to know. Golden. Maybe I am wrong, and it's only me, and you didn't feel a thing. But I can't let you go, and you're still painting images so deep within my mind, and every night in the shadows of my sleep. I cannot say I love you, I don't know you that well. At least let me find you so you can break this spell. Your hair was just so golden, 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 and your eyes were also golden, golden, golden. All my dreams are now golden, golden, golden. I wonder where did you go? I have to know. Golden, 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 and your eyes were also golden, 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 golden. I wonder where did you go? I have to know.
I think I know you from before, and I've been thinking about you. Stuck in my mind and I want more. No, we got a thing going on. Walked up and kissed me on the spot. I'm still thinking about it. I really miss it quite a lot, and I try to see things about you that could make me change my way. I cannot find the thing I'm meant to Baby, please just take it slow. There's no need to rush things, no. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what I say. So please don't go away, don't leave. Without you, boy, I cannot breathe. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what I say. It brings me down to fall apart. Thinking about the day you leave, it breaks my heart. Don't leave me hanging, baby. Don't leave me hanging, baby. I will never win this game. I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. I will never be the same. 'Cause I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. You are so beautiful. I'm losing ground without you, I fall. Let's figure out a way. You know it's you and me. Don't care what others say. Brings me down to fall apart. Thinking about the day you leave, it breaks my heart. Don't leave me hanging, baby. Don't leave me hanging, baby. I will never win this game. I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. I will never be the same. 'Cause I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. I will never win this game. No. I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. I will never be the same. 'Cause I am lost, boy, I'm in vain. I hear thunder, I hear lightning, I hear wonders, and everybody wanna go, but no one really cares to know. I see marvels, I see titans, and some troubles that everybody has to face, that no one really can erase, and they hide away from it. A part of you is always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind. You hurt me, I'll find love again. Even as a friend, everything must end. When you worry, I worry. It's no hurry, 'cause we got all the time we need. If we're in love, then we'll succeed. I heard laughter, I heard music. I thought, baby, there's no way we could ever lose
laughter, I heard music. I thought, baby, there's no way we could ever lose it. There's no way we could ever break or bruise it. A part of you is always standing in the rain, but I was never your ball and chain. A part of me was always trying to believe you were the only air to breathe. I stood against the wind, you hurt me, I found love again. Even as a friend, everything must end.
You were tall, I looked up. From where I sat, wished I would've dressed up. Your first line, won't forget. So is it true, no one's taking you yet? I remember people staring as we stepped outside. They had only one goal, get me off of your mind. I was no good, they said. You could do much better, but you gave them one middle finger and the door shut. 'Cause I know we are real as can be. Although we stick to each other, we're free. We still dream of what we could be. You still amaze me. Us lasting longer than them, standing stronger than them, letting think we are crazy. 'Cause I know we are real as can be. You still amaze me. Now that we've come so far, they're going nuts about how happy we are. See the bond that we made, it all seems real now that I'm not afraid. And we really got them, yeah, we sure did write it out. 'Cause we have each other, that's what it's all about. I was no good, they said. You could do much better, but you gave them one middle finger and the door shut. 'Cause I know we are real as can be. Yeah. Although we stick to each other, we're free. We are free. We still dream of what we could be. You still amaze me. Us lasting longer than them, standing stronger than them, letting think we are crazy. 'Cause I know we are real as can be. You still amaze me. You still amaze me. You still amaze me. 'Cause I know we are real as can be. Although we stick to each other, we're free. Yeah. We still dream of what we could be. Could be. You still amaze me. Us lasting longer than them, standing stronger than them, letting think we are crazy. 'Cause I know we are real as can be. You still amaze me.
I've been driving all night long to the place where I belong, back to where I started from, the only place that I call home. 17 around the bend, drinking with my old best friend, listening to the radio. I thought we'd stay until the end. got caught running from the cops. I thought they would have changed the name by now. The owner, someone else anyhow. That's where I saw Jenny first. Man, I think I almost burst. I heard that she's a doctor now. She got out of this place somehow. It wasn't always right, but it wasn't all that bad. This was all we had. When I see it now, I always feel so free. I guess this town's still a big part of me. I wish I could have seen this all with you, but you're out somewhere else, and there's nothing I could do about it now. It wasn't always right, but it wasn't all that bad. This was all we had. When I see it now, I always feel so free. I guess this town's still a big part of me. It wasn't always right, but it wasn't all that bad. This was all we had. When I see it now, I always feel so free. I guess this town's still a big part of me. I guess this town's still a big part of me. I guess this town's still a big part of me.
I've been sitting around in my lonely room, waiting till we're alone, only me and you. And I'm counting down the seconds, but it feels like time runs slower now. Whoa, but in my fantasy world, you're already here with me. Baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, feel like I lose my mind whenever I hear you say you're loving it too, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, I just can't get enough. Stop for a minute and hold it, don't let it pass. It's so hard to get out of this wonderland. Yeah, and I'm struggling not to lose control and head on further down the road. Yeah, we should get it right now, for it's all too late for me. Baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, feel like I lose my mind whenever I hear you say you're loving it too, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. No, I just can't get enough. Time's running out of me. Time's running out of me. Hey, time's running out of me. Yeah, time's running out of me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, baby, you rock me hard whenever I hear you call. I'm coming to you, 'cause I just can't get enough of it. I just can't get enough. Feel like I lose my
are closing in on heaven, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. Yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. Yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. Be alright, be alright. Yeah, I know we'll be alright. We are closer now than ever, and I know we'll be alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright. I don't even really know your name, but I'm still high on our love and making me feel alright.
There's something about the way he talks to me, how he talks to me now. The glimmer in his eyes as he's watching me, you know I'm watching him now. As he laughs with his beautiful smile, I know I'll never survive without this stranger by my side. The way he talks to me, the way he talks to me now. Life can sometimes feel like it's only dragging you down, dragging you down. Just remember you will always rise. Let your body go and don't think twice. If you meet a stranger with the deepest eyes, come on, 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 come on. Something in the way she looks at him, the way she looks at him now. A sadness in her eyes as she waves at him. She waves at him now. Tries to act as his beautiful wife. I know she'll never survive. If I leave, she will be alright. The way he talks to me, oh how he talks to me now. Life can sometimes feel like it's only dragging you down, dragging you down. Just remember you will always rise. Let your body go